girls would hear over the speakers, "Good night, can't miss it. We love you." And they did not hear that last night. We were, in the best of scenarios, um, being rescued and checked out by medical experts. And in the worst scenarios,
I don't know if you can hear that because I cannot hear it off of on my computer. I don't know why I don't have any sound.
the ones closest to the river are the ones that hold second. Girls who have gotten out of second and third grade. So rising third and fourth graders.
Dang, they're so young.
She said. And you see kayaks, garbage, debris, brush, limbs all over the outside. And stuff that had been pulled from the inside too. There was bags, mattresses from inside the cabins that had been either moved by someone who's gone back in today, but it's just horrible to imagine. So yeah, I mean, this happened in the middle of the night. Cabins that were happening. 27 confirmed.
That are missing still.
Yeah.
So far, the numbers are 43 dead, 36 children. That's in general, but we do know that specifically there Camp Mystic, 27 children are still missing. Right now, our chopper is going to be heading back to our vicinity as we start bringing our coverage, at least from now, to a completion or to a close. But we are still here for you. We are going to be covering this throughout the remainder of the night, and obviously we'll be here at 10 o'clock. If perhaps there is a press conference that happens to pop up, we won't break in because obviously this is a public service, and we do want those happy endings and hopefully bring out the miracles. But if it does warrant us to come back on air, we won't be on air. But we invite you to stay with us on our social media pages, on our website, on our Facebook, and you name it.
We're constantly updating everything with the very latest, and we are your neighbors. You consider the people in these communities your neighbors. They're our neighbors. We're all in this together. And I think that's the message that we're trying to say. We're here for you. We're doing whatever we can.
Yeah, I mean the heartbreak that everybody's feeling right now. We share in that heartbreak, and we share our prayers as well. We're going to go ahead and we will reset, we will gather, we collect everything.
Well, that's just.
And bring you the very late.
If not sooner than then, we'll see you at 10.
I don't even consider myself a swimmer, but man, that is just crazy. Yeah. Okay, so let me go ahead and update. Last night, let me see, where was it? About 9:40, they were confirmed because before it was 13 dead in the flooding in Kerr County. And then by last night, it was 24 confirmed dead. And then this morning, when I checked in, it was 27 confirmed dead. And then it was 30, and now they're saying, like what you saw there, 43 dead in Kerr County. They were saying that there were 20, how many were missing? 23 missing. And then this morning they said there were 27 missing. And that's kids and adults missing from the camp, counselors, whoever, staff. Hunt, Texas had a lot of flooding, power outages. Some have been restored earlier today. The water on one of the gauges, this is crazy. The water went up 22 feet in 2 hours. 22 feet. And that's not even, and most of the rivers that I know that I've seen, and I've been to Kerrville. I've seen that river there. The bridge crosses over, kind of in town right there. But most of the times the rivers do not have concrete on them, right? So it's just the river flowing through, and then you have the dirt and the grass or whatever, right? 22 feet in 2 hours. That is a lot of water. Okay, Georgetown. Now, yesterday when I was looking at the storms, they were turning counterclockwise when I'm looking at the map, right? I was watching the news and it was moving this way. So on your view, when it was turning this way, and then you had, Kerrville and all that up here, right northwest of San Antonio. So it was turning. So by the time this morning, it was on the other side of town, but further way out of town, right? Not just outside San Antonio, but around. And that's when it was hitting. A lot of the clouds were up in Georgetown. What else was up there? Round Rock and Austin. They're all on 35, right? When you go 35 north, you hit Austin, San Marcos, New Braunfels, you hit Austin, Round Rock, and then Georgetown. So Georgetown had a lot of flooding up there. So all that water was heading downstream. Now those rivers up there were, major crest, right? Okay, so downstream, I don't know. I was trying to look at the map for how Guadalupe, but that river goes, in and out, and it goes a little bit wobbly, and then it heads north and south, and then it goes east to west direction. So it's just hard to follow. I was trying to look for everything. Okay, like where's the water going? I was trying to find out, is the water going to follow, like going south on 35? But the river twists and turns so much, it's hard to tell where it's going. But you see the damage it's doing, right? It's just, now it's already receded in some of these areas. If you look, can you see it here, or do you see it over here? Where's my cursor? Oh, you can't even see it. You can kind of see it right here. So all this is already receding, and they're already on there on the banks, right? So all of this was full of water. And this is normally, kind of not dry, but not flooding, right? And of course it was full of water and everything. And so there's all kinds of searches still going on. There's, tents, and for all the people looking, the helicopters, probably some drones going on over there. Just, there's all kinds of everything going on for searching, because they're still searching for all these people. And they had interviewed some other people about how it was when they woke up this morning. It was just, the water was already up, and they, it was time to go. And some people walked out with nothing. They had nothing, just whatever they were wearing. They grabbed their dog if they could, or whatever, and left, maybe your wallet, but that was pretty much it. Let me go ahead and take this off, because it's, what do you call it? Buffering. So, power outage in Center Point. This has affected a lot of Central Texas. And yesterday, and I had mentioned, and I was kind of shocked, it said San Angelo, but that storm started up north. And because it was turning, it ended up where it was, over Kerr County, coming southwest, coming over Kerr County, and it stalled right there. So people are asking, it's so much water in so little time, because it stalled right there. This is why I mentioned HARP yesterday, because it stayed there. That's why they got so much rain. It didn't keep moving. It stayed right there, and it just kept raining and raining. And by the time it was already 3:00 in the morning, the water was just coming. It was just coming. Nobody knew it was coming, and it's dark and you can't see, right? So all those people were caught unaware once again, like I said yesterday. Oh, look, let me go back to, what are they showing over here? Oh, they took it off now. Never mind. It was a camera shot of a chopper, and then they took it off. So now it's a blank screen. But anyway, so we had some rain. It's been kind of raining here all day, but it hasn't been too bad. But because of the circulation moving counterclockwise was it clockwise, counterclockwise? It was moving counterclockwise. So to your view, moving counterclockwise, this is when it moved up to Georgetown, New Braunfels, whatever it is. And so that's why it just went around the long way underneath to go from San Angelo all the way to Georgetown. So I don't know what it's doing now. Okay, here we go. Let me see.
Since 2013.
I was wondering how come I didn't have sound. What was going on with that?
2013. You've obviously seen rains come, little flooding.
You ever seen anything like this before ever?
No, we've lived here since 1985. I actually grew up in West Texas, Odessa, and my wife and I moved here in 1985. We've seen floods, we've seen some bad ones, but this one is going to far exceed that.
Up.
When you see the flood waters rising so much, I mean, your house is built high up. What is kind of going through your mind as it just keeps rising and keeps rising? Is it
How far is it going to go? You know, and it was quick. You know, within 10 minutes, it was a calm river almost to up. You know, within a foot and a half of our bottom of our house.
was there any thought at any point? It's like, okay,
Mm.
do you have almost like a threshold? If it crosses this threshold, we need to pack up and move.
Well, we had been down on the river. We knew the water was coming. We went down and we're picking up things. We have an area underneath our house that kind of a recreational area. And I had a Polaris Ranger under there. Actually, I've got a car that's still under there. And
Huh.
we'd gone down and started picking things up. My wife's like, well, how do you think it's going to get? And I said, well, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's going to come in here. It's never been in here before. And, you know, I think maybe a foot or two in here. Well, it was almost 9 foot in there.
Wow.
Um,
Way.
and then take me through where were you at, and all of a sudden you heard something and knew something wasn't right.
Well, because the floodwaters were getting pretty high, we decided we would leave the house. So we went just a half a block down the way, and the street was still clear there, and I could watch and see, and I was watching the river continue to rise incrementally a little bit, and when it finally quit coming up, and I could tell that it was about to go down, was trying to go down some. I waded over and came up on the deck. And when I came up and got out here, she went to screaming because she was just across the river there. And she was hollering for help. At first, I thought she was in the water going down the river. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And then finally, I spotted her in the tree. And from that point, I just began to holler back to her, hey, you know, I see you. We're going to get you. You know, hang on. We're going to get you out of that tree. It's going to be all right. But you need to hang on, and you know, try to relax as best you can. And so I wasn't sure she was hearing what I was saying for sure, and so my wife went across the street and asked these folks if they had any kind of a bullhorn, and they did. So they brought it over, and I was hollering through the bullhorn to her where she could understand what we were saying. And so we just kept trying to reassure, because she was panicking something severe. You know, I mean, she had told us that, you know, after the fact, that she had almost given up hope. She just didn't think there was going to be any way that, you know, anybody was going to be able to get to her. So I called 911 immediately. They didn't, I didn't get they answered, but no one came. So I knew there were folks over on the big bridge, and I drove over there, which is just
Wow, all that time and
500
she's just in the
yards.
tree.
And
Wow.
I was able to flag down a DPS agent, and I told him what was going on. And I said, man, we really need some help. So he got on the radio, and in a little bit, the fire department showed up, and, you know, they weren't capable of doing anything but stay here, you know, but they did have a loudspeaker, and we were able to holler at her and make sure that she understood that we're here and we're going to get her out of the tree. And so they began to try to locate a swift water rescue team, and eventually we got a team in. They were out of Bernie, and they were able to get in and go get her.
Does from the time that you first see her to that, about how long does that take before they finally get somebody over there to rescue her?
Man, I don't know. I mean, she was in the water for 4 hours. She said she went in at 4, and it was a little after 8 at that point when when I discovered her, and it was probably close to 9 a.m. by the time we finally got her out of the tree and back over here on dry land.
What's the first thing that you
Hmm.
you say to her? What is her first reaction? What's kind of like that, for lack of a better term, that emotion, that moment like? Because there's so few people in this world that would ever experience what you experienced on that day.
And I don't know, it was just a feeling of hope that she's going to be all right, and she just wanted to hug me. That's all she wanted to do was
Oh.
give me a big hug. So we embraced for a bit, and my wife had gotten towels and blankets, and we got a trash bag and put over to try to warm her up because she had lost a lot of body temperature at that point, and she's nicked up and banged up and what have you. And so, we finally got that accomplished, got her some clothes on her because, it had taken a lot of her clothing off. And then we walked her over to our house and brought her in. And the EMTs came and they took her blood pressure, took her temperature, checked her oxygen levels, and they said, well, we've got bigger things going on, and she seems to be okay. And so we're going to go on. And they just left her with us, and we're like, okay, that's fine, but I don't know what to do at that point, and so we took her in, and my wife helped her get in the shower and gave her a hot shower, made her some hot chocolate and stuff, and just kept talking to her. And she's in shock at that point, obviously, and she kept just apologizing profusely. Oh, I've made a mess in your bathroom. Can you, is there a broom or something I can use to help clean up? And we're like, no, honey, don't worry about what's going on. I mean, we're just thrilled that you're here. I mean, and we talked and embraced and talked about the fact that it was truly a miracle. She acknowledged that. I guess the Lord has a better plan for me. And, I mean, what she went through, there's no words other than it was a miracle. I mean, she crossed 4 dams to get here, went under the highway, screaming and hollering. She said she got knocked out a time or two. I don't know how you come back from that.
Wow.
And, she made it here. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable.
So if I'm understanding this right, if you don't come back down to the house to kind of check on things, nobody might have heard her cries.
Yeah,
She might not have.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there wasn't anybody else around at that time, so I was just fortunate to be at the right place, at the right time.
Oof.
So,
There's going to be so many people that obviously go ahead. We live in a society that loves to put labels on everything. Everybody's going to sit there, oh, Peter's such a hero for what he did and everything else.
absolutely not.
Exactly.
And I don't like that. I really don't. It's embarrassing and it bothers me when people,
because you did.
They've made those statements, and I just it's not right. I mean, I did what any human being would do, and I'm just thrilled that I was able to help facilitate her rescue.
Have you had time? You've obviously been inundated with calls from news media and everybody else, including myself. Have you had time to reflect on all of this, or is there just so much of a cleanup and everything else that all of this hasn't even sunk in yet?
Well, yeah, for the most part, it hadn't sunk in. I mean, I do, I get tears in my eyes when I think about it, and when I talk about it, it's again, I'm a Christian, God-fearing man, and I believe miracles occurred. I think what occurred yesterday.
you recently got a chance to meet some of the family who got a chance to talk to you. What was that moment like to be able to, for lack of a better term, obviously they have every right in the world to be gracious for everything that you and your wife did. What was that moment like for you to actually meet them and talk to them just for a moment?
It was incredible. You know, I've talked to her grandmother a few times, and they're focused in Ingram and Kerrville looking for the rest of the family. But this was her uncle and some others that came down, and they came down to specifically try to find me. And I guess they were walking down the street, and one of them, the aunt, said, "Hey, that's him," you know. So they came over and wanted to hug and embrace and talk, and it was a good moment, you know. I mean, yeah.
So where does Jeter and this community now of Center Point, where does it go from here?
No, we just clean up and get back to it, you know. What else are you going to do? There's a lot yet to do. I mean, there's still, you can see they're combing the river looking for folks, you know. I mean, I think earlier they found a couple of people down the river there. So, you know, we just try to get things cleaned up and put back together again and continue to live life. What else? I mean, there's not much else you can do but pick yourself up and go on.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, that's something. Ooh. Now there's other, let me see. I don't know if I want to go here and look at it. Everybody's got reports now, what's going on. Most of the details I think I gave you about the confirmed dead. I was trying to think of a nicer way to say it. But now there's 27 people missing from the 27 people missing from the camp. So, you know, that's where we are right now. I guess I'll just keep this short, you know. Oh, okay. They're showing somebody on cleaning up the mud. Okay, wait. Oh, I wanted to shut down the noise, the volume. There we go. Okay. Right. So thanks for watching. There it is. Like, share, and subscribe. These are pretty much the numbers. Leave a nice comment. I know this is a short one, but I wanted to keep it that way. It's only, not as short as I thought, 23 minutes. Okay, well, we got to go. Hispanic Conservative is out of here. I was trying to go live, but I couldn't. I wasn't able to do it. I don't have access on YouTube, and I wasn't able to do it here either, so I had to do the recording. But by that time, I figured all that out. All the live broadcasting was over, so I missed it all. Okay. Anyway, I'll go ahead and head out for today. This is Hispanic Conservative. Okay. Bye, y'all. See you later.